Right, Jenny, I don't know, episode 4, I think it is at this point. You have to choose 10 random numbers between 1 and 47, and that decides who I talk about in this episode. Go for it.
2, 5, 11, 17, 21, 28, 35, 40, 43, 47.
Well done. There's my numbers. Let's go see who I'm about to talk about today. Right lads, here we are once again, green screen in the background with the graphics playing through. I don't know, episode 3, let's get straight into it. I have to say, Jenny's picked some decent players randomly for this episode. First up, Hearts player Liam Boyce, as you can see in the graphic next to me there. Now, this is a wee bit of a difficult one because there's obvious talent within Liam Boyce, because when he was at Ross County, before he made the move down to England and then back up to Hearts, he was a decent player at Ross County and he was scoring goals when they were in the Premiership, and of course they ended up getting relegated, he moved on, etc, etc. And then when he went down to England, it wasn't too bad either. He was scoring goals down there. I remember watching Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix and he scored one of the goals at the Stadium of Light against them in an important game in the relegation battle. Obviously, as I said, there is that talent there with Liam Boyce, but when he's come back up to Scotland, I just didn't think it's still there. Obviously, nothing's clicking with Hearts really as a team, and nothing has throughout the full season, but I think Liam Boyce is a wee bit lost that bit of quality that he once had. He's not done very much since coming back up to Scotland, so for the moment, it's a no now. If you'd asked me a couple of years ago when he was at Ross County and possibly when he was still at the English club Byrne, I would have said aye, but it's a no now, as a Hearts player. Now, here's the one that we all love on this channel, don't we? You'll know exactly who I mean when I say the words no. Nicky Clark! What a random pick that is for Jenny there. Nicky Clark. Here we go. When he was a Dunfermline player, right, he was a goal scorer and he just wasn't really appreciated that much by the fans for whatever reason. He was probably appreciated for his goal scoring exploits, but there was just a certain aspect that we just didn't fully take Nicky Clark on board, and he's never really been caught in the same regard as like a Faisal Baktui, etc., despite scoring more goals, I believe, than Faisal did in his time at the club. So it's a weird one from a Dunfermline aspect. He's obviously then moved on to Dundee United. Our fans didn't really like him for that aspect either, and he moved on to Dundee United and has done well there. So I have to say it's an aye for Nicky Clark. I've never really had anything against the guy. It's just obviously that one clip that's gotten my reputation with him, because it was very frustrating to see him score against us, of course, with his history of being at the club, etc. He's a top quality striker, let's be honest. For the sake of the meme itself, no, Nicky Clark. Next up, Alan Forrest, the one that has just made the move to Livingston from Ayr United. Top quality player in my opinion, and has done really well this season and in previous seasons for Ayr. He's been one of Ayr's consistent performers over a course of like maybe 5 or 6 years now, and has done really well for himself and earned that move finally into the Premiership, as I said, with Livingston. So I believe he'll go on to do well at Livingston as well. I think Livingston have made a pretty good signing there. I think that's the type of player that they will thrive off of having in their team. And despite that Ayr fans have said Alan Forrest isn't exactly much of a team player, he's clearly a quality player on the pitch and provides moments of brilliance here and there, especially in games against us. I think he scored twice against us this season, if not more than that. So Alan Forrest is a definite aye for me. Now, next up is a possible teammate for Alan Forrest next season. It's Lyndon Dykes, as you can see by the graphic next to me there. It's a strange one here because obviously, as I said, it's a possible teammate for Alan Forrest next year because he's being linked with the likes of Rangers at the moment. And for me, Lyndon Dykes is a very strange one. When he was at Queen of the South, yes, he was a decent enough target man kind of player, but I simply didn't rate him when he was at Queen of the South, and then he got that move into the Premiership with Livingston, and he's proved his weight in gold, or he's proved his worth in gold, I should probably say. He's just that type of player that Livingston thrive off of having, that target man type player who can cause defenders problems. We saw it performed very well against Celtic very early on in the season when they suffered their first defeat of the season, I believe it was. and it was at Livingston, and Christopher Jullien felt really kind of heckled by Lyndon Dykes specifically. It's clearly just worked out for him at Livingston. It's another one of those ones that if you'd asked me at a certain point in time when he was at Queen of the South, I probably would have edged on the side of no, but he's definitely proven me wrong. He's playing well in the Premiership, and now he's probably going to earn a move eventually to a bigger club, so he's changed my mind, and Lyndon Dykes is now an I. Well done, Lyndon. Lyndon's going to get that written in his CV now. Got an I on I or no. Next up, Jack Baird, a Morton player, but previously a St Mirren player. This is a weird one for me as well. It's more of the fact that, like, even though I know there's players that can move from one club to another and be a sort of heroic figure at one club, etc, etc, like Kevin Nisbet was for Wraith, and then he's come to us and we love him now as well. It's just weird to me that within an 18-month period, Jack Baird went from winning a league with St Mirren, having chants sung about him by the fans, and then moving on to Morton and instantly sort of becoming a sort of cult hero figure at Morton as well. I don't know, it's just a bit of a weird one. Me, though, personally, I like Jack Baird as a player, so it is going to be an I. I just find that wee aspect a bit weird, but I suppose when I look at it in the grand scheme of things, I can't be too critical about it because I would end up being a bit contradictory and a bit of a hypocrite because I do the same with Kevin Nisbet at the moment and Paul Payton, etc, etc. So we're just fickle football fans at the end of the day. Now next up is a controversial one. Maybe not as much on the pitch, but definitely stuff that's happened off of it. It's David Goodbody. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into any of the off-field stuff because everyone by this point knows about it. But there is no doubting that David Goodbody on the pitch is a good striker. He has been from his Dundee United days, and then obviously had those kind of, I think 2 years out or something like that, when he was dealing with all the off-the-field stuff that did happen in his life, and you can have your own opinions on that. But when it comes to on the pitch, since he's signed for Clyde, he's been an absolute talisman for them, and there is no doubt that they would not be in the position they are in if not for David Goodbody. So, in my opinion, it just has to be an I for David Goodbody. Because of the on-the-pitch stuff, don't take this as any sort of feeling towards any of the off-the-pitch stuff, because I don't know enough about it. This is simply down to how the player plays on the pitch, and David Goodbody scores goals. He's a striker, he's paid to score goals, so therefore, he gets an I for me. Next on the list is Harry Payton. Now, a lot of you might not have heard of Harry Payton, I'm not sure how many of you would have, but he was a player for Stenhousemuir, I believe, and played very well for them a few seasons ago, and then got a move to Ross County, I think in January when they were in the Scottish Championship. I may be wrong on that one, but I think I'm right. Let me know. But overall, I think Harry Payton is a good player, a good young player that's got a lot of potential to grow in the game, and having watched wee clips here and there that have popped up over time, I think I saw a throwback post for the SPFL showing Stenhousemuir's win at Hampden Park in the playoffs a few seasons ago, and Harry Payton was very much involved in that. I think that was sort of his real breakout season at Stenhousemuir that ended up getting him the move to Ross County eventually. He's kind of stagnated a bit at Ross County, not been given a hell of a lot of opportunities, so maybe a good loan spell out somewhere in a lower league club would do him well again to get his career back on track a bit. But I think there's no doubt that he's got good quality, potential to grow, so for me it's an I for Harry Payton. Now we have a player for the wee team, a player that unfortunately did Dunfermline a bit of a mischief when we last played Wraith Rovers in a competitive fixture. Lewis Vaughan. Cheers Jenny for making me pick this one, fantastic. I'm going to probably have to say an I for a wee team player. Lewis Vaughan is a great striker, let's be honest. He has the quality on the pitch, and despite the fact that he plays for the wee team, as previously mentioned, you can't deny players being good at their profession. And Lewis Vaughan is definitely that. He's had a lot of talent for many years now, and a player that's been lavished with injury after injury after injury. And it's really unfortunate for him because, as I said, he is a really good player and could really thrive within the game. I think he will eventually, as long as this sort of injury problems doesn't keep rearing its ugly head for years to come. He's definitely got the talent to prove his worth in the Championship, where Wraith Rovers will be next season. So, for me, it's an I for Lewis Vaughan. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say that for a wee team player. Just didn't do the dirty on us like you did in the last game, Lewis. Ever again. joke! Oh, joke! Oh!
The hat-trick hero, Vaughan!
Now, second last, Benjamin Siegrist of Dundee United. It's a simple aye. He's a tall man, he's a very good goalkeeper. You need a tall goalkeeper, he'd be doing well, and he's definitely that. He's a man mountain. I think he's like something like 6'2", maybe 6'4". He's absolutely massive. He's basically like two of me. It's crazy. And finally, Ian Vigurs, a player that I really do rate. He's got a lot of quality. When he played for Inverness, he had a lot of quality and eventually moved on to Ross County, which again is one of those weird ones, but with the way their rivalry goes between the clubs, they call it the friendly rivalry or something like that. It's a weird one. He moved on to Ross County and is doing relatively well there as well. So I would love a player like Ian Vigurs in my team, so I would have to say an aye for Ian Vigurs as well. It's been quite a good episode for the eyes, isn't it? That's it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like, comment down below your thoughts and aye or no on the players that I've discussed in this video. Subscribe for more of this type of content, and until the next video, I'm not entirely sure when it'll be, just wait for it coming. I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.